Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Christy's Beautiful Life's 30 Days of Sketches. And we are on day 4. Today's sketch is from Brenda Ragsdale. And I like this sketch. It was a lot of fun. And I kind of did something a little bit different. So I cut my papers into my circles. And you might be wondering why I'm cutting it out right out of the center. Because I actually am cutting it for the flip side of that paper. I want... it is the Paige Evans paper where all the leaves go in kind of a swirl. I want the center of the swirl. That's why I'm cutting it out of the middle. But you're going to see that as soon as I flip it over. So if I had cut it off to one side or the other, you wouldn't get that same kind of effect. So that's why I did that. You might be also wondering about that tool that I was just using to cut that circle. I borrowed that from a friend. I'm not exactly sure what it's for. I happened to be at a retreat when I did this, and so that is what I had on hand. So I took my 2 pieces of paper, I put them down where I thought I wanted them, and then I just marked with my pencil loosely where they were going to go. So then I decided I wanted to create some kind of a splatter effect coming from the behind the circles. So I grabbed a straw that it's one of the bendy straws, and I'm using some Dylusions paint in chopped pesto, and I'm just kind of putting it down kind of watery with my paintbrush there, and then I am making sure I kind of blow it out from the center towards the outside of the paper. Pretty simple. It's, it takes a little bit of time and a little bit of air, but it's not a hard thing to do. It just takes time, and like I said, you just have to blow. You could also use one of the tools that Tim Holtz makes for alcohol ink. It's got like the big thing you squeeze on it and it blasts air. I'm not sure what that's called, but it works as well. And you might actually get a little bit better control, but this worked for me, and because I wasn't at home and I didn't have access to all my tools, I thought that it worked really well since it was kind of done in a pinch. Now I also decided to use some gold ink. I'm using Liquitex gold ink. It is not water-based, and it dries relatively quickly. So if you are looking for something gold to replace like your Heidi Swap or one of those other golds, this one works really well, but you do have to keep in mind it's not water-based and it dries pretty quick, so you kind of have to work a little bit faster with it. I did add a little bit of water to it just so it would have a little bit more movement, and not a lot of water, but basically the water that I added is the water that big brush carries, so it wasn't a ton of water. And then I decided to go ahead and add a little bit of gold over the green area as well. So adding, there, I did spray a little bit of water in there this time. So I decided to go ahead and add a little bit of gold there because the green is pretty dark, and I didn't feel like the gold would cover it up too much. I thought it was a nice addition to it. And I want to keep this kind of fall looking, so the colors that are in the paper are pretty bright, even though they are fall papers. I just thought the gold added kind of a nice sheen to it, if you will. And so I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Like I said, it was a little time consuming, but totally worth it in the end. So I go ahead and test it with my papers, and I'm liking how it's looking. And so then I decide I'm going to go ahead and ink up the outer edge of my papers. And I'm just going to use some walnut stain distress ink. And if you follow my channel and have seen me use this before, I've probably mentioned it before. I prefer walnut stain over any of the other browns that are in the distress ink family. It's a little bit less orangey than Vintage Photo, which I know is the other really popular brown for inking up papers. So I don't keep it really super juicy. It's just kind of, it has ink on it, but it's not like overly juicy. So it doesn't make it super dark around the edge. And I just like the way that it looks. So then, excuse me, then I'm going to make the little banners that go in underneath the photos. And rather than just doing one, I decided to do more than one. It just one looked one looked a little lonely to me. I don't know. I don't know if it was just me or what. I'm not used to seeing just one on a page. Maybe that was the problem. I'm not 100% sure. But I decided to add more than one, and I really like the way that it ends up looking when it's all done. So when you are working with a sketch, just remember that the sketch is there as a starting point for you. It's some inspiration. You don't have to follow it exactly if you don't want to. Now, of course, if you want to, that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to change it up, change it up. Add things, take it up a level by adding maybe some stitching or some mixed media, or, you know, maybe even turn it on its side, rotate it or something like that. The options are endless with sketches, really. It's just something to get you started. And hopefully that works for you. And hopefully you're finding a lot of inspiration in the 30 Days of Sketches series. This is the 9th time that we are doing this. Well, it's not my 9th time. It's Christy's 9th time. And I really appreciate that she has put this together for us again. And so I am playing along all 30 days, hopefully. And so I'm super excited about that. I have done this a couple of times in the past. So if you are looking for more sketches or sketch videos, I do have a playlist for 30 Days of Sketches. I also have a playlist for Stretch the Sketch if you like to work with a 12 by 12 sketch and change up your sizing. So that paper that I had cut the center out of, I am going to use that to back my entire layout to give it a nice green border. And I really like the way that that looks. So I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. I was not really in my plan when I cut the circle out of the center, but it worked out really well. So I'm going to get my papers laid down, and I really like this heart paper. I think it's really pretty. So that was the reason I went with that. I wanted to kind of play off the hearts because in the photo it is Noah and his mom, who is my daughter, and then his aunt on the other side of the family. So on his dad's side. So I don't have a lot of photos with him with his dad's side of the family just because I'm not always there to take the photos or for whatever reason. So it is always nice to go ahead and capture those photos in his scrapbook when I get the opportunity. So now I have some acrylic pieces. These are some fall leaves that are from MK Gunn over at Some Assemblage Required. And she has an Etsy shop. I will link that down below so that you can look up what she has to offer. She has all kinds of awesome things. And I just love her stuff. So I did pair it up with a title piece that says Treasured Moments. And that is from Colorcast Designs. MK also does do some title pieces, but not as many. So I like to pair up what I have from Colorcast with her wood and her acrylic because she has such awesome pieces. Now the acrylic piece that I had, I probably should have left the backing on it, but by the time I took it off, there was no going back. But it's very see-through, and I didn't want it quite as transparent. I wanted to make it a little bit more opaque, so I used some white acrylic paint that I borrowed from a friend. Thank you so much, Lisa. Because we were at this retreat. I didn't have mine with me, so I borrowed that from her, and I went ahead and just put it all over the back of my acrylic piece so that it is more opaque and it pops off the page just a little bit more. It's still not super bold because it is a really light color, but it's much better than leaving it how it was. So I also really like that it kind of matches Noah's shirt. It's got some yellow in his shirt, and I think that it looks really good with that as well. While I do that, I'll remind you that the links to everybody playing along with 30 Days of Sketches today are down below in my description box. So go and check them out and give them a little bit of love. definitely check out Christy, who is the genius mind behind all of this and who takes so much time and effort to put all of this together for us. It's quite a bit of coordinating, and she does a fantastic job at it. So thank you, Christy, for that. But go and give her a little bit of love as well. So I'm just using some glue dots to go ahead and adhere all of these acrylic pieces down. At least the ones that I can put a glue dot on. Those super thin ones that I'm messing around with right now in the upper right hand corner, pardon me, they are getting some liquid glue because there is just not enough surface area to adhere a glue dot to. So they did end up sticking just fine. I was a little bit concerned that they might not, but I didn't have any problem with it. So this Nuvo Deluxe adhesive really does a good job, and I highly recommend it and think that it's a great glue. So it dries clear and matte, so even if there's a little bit that sticks out from underneath those acrylic pieces, you can't really see it. The fact that it's matte finish, it works really well. So actually the brand of glue dots that I'm using is actually from Zots. I'm not using the Glue Dots brand, but the Glue Dots brand works as well. I have both in my stash. It just depends on which one I happen to pick up at the moment that I am working on the project. I don't really have a preference for either one. They both work equally as well as the other. And so whatever kind of glue dot you have, I just use the ones that are flat, not dimensional, and I go with the ones that are for the bling size, the really tiny ones, because they fit best underneath those acrylic pieces, especially where you have narrow little areas on your acrylic pieces. So then I pulled out this tab die that is from Close to My Heart, and I will put a link down below for that as well, for the set that came in. And I'm going to add that to the top of my photos there and call it done. I'm going to leave the journaling for my daughter to do since I wasn't there that day. And hopefully you have enjoyed this video. If you have questions or comments, leave them down below. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. And I thank you for spending time with me today and watching. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. And if you're not already subscribed, I would really love for you to subscribe to my channel. I will be back again tomorrow with another video, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.